Hello, everybody. It's Monday. I'm a little late. I had an unexpected training that I had to go to this afternoon that was earlier than I expected. So it's nice to be with you. Today we're going to be talking about accepting ourselves and how this translates into also being accepting of others. And this by no means that we'll always be perfect, or that I'm always perfect at this, or that I've got it all figured out. I think that we're all always learning until we're enlightened, and then even then we're learning. So last night I had a paper due for one of my grad school classes, and I was writing a grant proposal for bringing mindfulness meditation into prisons, which is already kind of happening, but I was talking about bringing Vipassana meditation, which is its whole other very intense version of that. And it brought me to looking up ways to write letters to prisoners and to inmates, in our prison system. And what I noticed when I was looking at these inmates, so I found a website. It has all these all of their profiles listed, and they all write notes to try about themselves, and in order to get people to, to get them to write to them, okay? And so when these notes and these, it's kind of like profiles, it really struck me in the sense that people, they were so desperate. They wanted so badly to connect with somebody. I mean, and this almost made me want to cry. I mean, it was reading these things. It's like these people that have done, things they shouldn't have done. Right? I'm not like condoning what people have done. I mean, people on death row. I was reading people's profiles on death row, and it just struck me to the degree to which we all want connection. We all want to be cared for. We all want to be loved. We all want to be accepted. And these inmates were a great example of what we do in our society, and how that macrocosm, that high level, what we do to people in our society, we put them away, and even sometimes put them in solitary confinement. And again, I'm not saying this is right or wrong either way. I'm just saying this is what we do, and we tend to forget about them. Okay, and this is what we do with ourselves. Okay, there are parts of ourselves that either when we were children or as adults that were considered not okay. And what we end up doing when these things don't get acknowledged and they don't get rehabilitated, they aren't met with love and care and compassion, right? Because every behavior, there's a need underlying every single behavior. There's an emotion, there's an emotional need and a vulnerability underneath everything that we do. And so as children, we are told, this part of you is okay, thank you, and this part of you is not okay, okay? And so we start to learn, my anger, that wasn't accepted or acknowledged or okay in my family. It was met with whatever it was met with. Or there was this happening in my family, so therefore I need to use humor to avoid conflict, right? All of these places where we build up defenses and walls around how we protect these places inside of ourselves that are really tender, right? So what I'm getting at here is notice the ways in which we all can notice the ways in which we put these things, these parts of ourselves aside, or say this part of me is okay, or how we cope with the parts of ourselves that we don't like. Okay, and this might be conscious or subconscious, and it might be so ingrained in you don't even realize it. Different, even just depending on the culture that your family is from, can impact your ability to connect with these parts of yourselves. And so what we call this in psychotherapy, we call this splitting off. So when things are not acknowledged, when they are not met with care and concern and a safe space to explore, they tend to be shoved to the side. Okay, so it just really impacted me, these inmates that were literally, some of them were saying, I'm so lonely. I would love for anybody to write to me. anybody, please, I would love to connect with you. And so it's so easy to on the surface say, God, what you should have done this or that before you got yourself in, in whatever they call it, right? In prison or in jail. And I was watching a video of this very high security prison in Alabama where they brought in Vipassana meditation. And there's a documentary on this called Dhamma Brothers, and I can link to that below if you're interested. But Dhamma Brothers, they bring in Vipassana meditation, which is the direct teaching of the Buddha 2,600 years ago. And there was it had great success. Violence rates among participants reduced by like 30%. Okay, massive impact on the people that chose to participate in it. And for a while afterwards, there's a huge backlash of this program because it was in the Bible Belt, okay, in Alabama. And one of the guys that, he's a free citizen, was saying, well, they should have meditated before they did what they did. Okay, so what's the problem with this? This is the problem here, where we think like, oh, we should have just known. Well, we don't know what we don't know, and there's a lot going on in the brain that's happening when we're feeling really activated, triggered, impulsive, okay? When we're so desperate that we have to rob somebody or whatever it is, right? And again, I'm speaking on like a kind of extreme level, but we all do these certain things like where we are motivated by our feelings. And so we have to get really mindful of how we're feeling, how we're going about our actions and the things that we choose to do. And so like in the case of, looking through all of what their crimes were, like armed robbery, kidnapping, right? Murder, right? These things that we are so, and again, I'm not condoning them, but we are so, all we know to do with these people is to shut them away. And we understand, in the case of addiction, for instance, that one of the biggest causes of addiction is shame, and shame is one of the most destructive human feelings or states. So, what I'm trying to say here is, when we quote unquote when we put others in the margins of our society, it's a reflection of how we do this in ourselves. What parts of ourselves are we putting in the margin and pretending are not there? How are we managing the shadow parts? Okay, and everything that we repress will come up and out. Okay, it will eventually come out. So we can't spiritually bypass things. We have to deal with them and treat them with love and respect and compassion, or else it's not going to be healed. So when we're looking at working on accepting ourselves and learning to accept ourselves in our fullest being, when we want to feel more whole and more at home in ourselves, we really have to be able to look at the shadow parts of ourselves. Okay, and this is mindfulness and yoga and meditation. These practices help us get in touch with that and allow ourselves to just be with that and notice how we might react negatively, typically, and notice, oh, I'm liking this or I'm not liking that, craving or aversion, the ways in which we like parts of ourselves and don't like parts of ourselves. So that's it was a little more convoluted. Hopefully it's clear. But I hope the idea is clear for you all, that we are, right, we're not just looking to what's the best part of me. No, I mean, we can, this positive pop psychology is important to the degree to which we can work through our deeper triggers, the big T and little t traumas, the big events that happen in our lives, the little kind of difficult events that happen throughout our lives that make an imprint on us. These samskaras is what the Buddha called them, right? Patanjali. These imprints that get left on us are very important to sit with, okay? Rather than just saying that everything's okay. So, and then from there, once we can resolve and sit with those things a little more, we tend to be more resilient and feel more complete and more together and less split apart and split off. Okay. Okay, and then we experience more fulfillment and a deeper sense of joy and peace in our life because we are more fully ourselves. Okay, and the degree to which we can experience the darkness is the degree to which we can experience the light. So that is my thought for you on Monday, and I would love to hear anything else that you're dealing with or struggling with in your life. Please let me know. I would love to address it in one of these Facebook Lives. And I will be traveling for a couple of weeks, so depending on my internet connection, I may or may not be on, but or it might be at a different time or different day, but keep your eyes peeled, and I look forward to being with you in the future on the interwebs, okay? Have a wonderful week and see you soon. Bye.